Hello, welcome to Legal Awareness web series. The much awaited judgment of the Supreme Court has come today in the case of Rakesh Kumar Agrawal versus National Law School of India University. Consortium of National Law University was respondent number 3. We didn't want to go on our own, but we were made a respondent. Judgment has been authored by Senior Judge Justice Ashok Bhushan, and it has rejected all the arguments which were made by NLSIU. It has accepted all the arguments which were made by the petitioners and the respondent consortium, and it, I feel, is a lesson for all the vice chancellors, each one of us, that we must read our statute properly and we must read it again and again. Now, I believe, except on one point, whether NLAT had malpractices or not, Supreme Court had said since we have quashed NLAT, we need not go into in that question. It may be a matter of inquiry. NLSIU itself has filed a criminal complaint, but everything else goes against NLSIU. The first major argument of NLSIU was that petitioner number 2, who is a former vice chancellor, Professor Venkat Rao, is not having locus. The petitioner who has come, who is a parent of a child who is taking CLAT, his details are not given. The court has rejected this argument and has said that Professor Venkat Rao was a secretary treasurer. He was vice chancellor of NLSIU for 10 years and he is an interested party. The court has also noted that people who have lost the case in Jharkhand are also before it, and therefore on the question of maintainability, the court did not accept Mr. Arvind Datar's argument. Now you would recall that I had made a video on this and I had written 2 long articles for Live Law. In one article, I examined the whole question of 0 year to demonstrate that 0 year is not declared by individual universities, it is declared by the government. And as you know, that the government of India has clearly told parliamentary committee that they have no intention of declaring 2020-21 as 0 year. So 0 year argument was rejected. The court has noted there may be many methods of overcoming the loss of tuition. We had also suggested, I had also written in my article, that the class time from 60 minutes can be increased to 90 minutes. We can have extra classes. We can remove semester break. If you have a will, there is a way. Then similarly, the Supreme Court has said UGC has permitted universities to suitably amend their academic calendar due to COVID-19. And therefore, this is the crisis for all universities. I have also made a powerful case in my Live Law second article that EC's decision about holding NLAT is not legal because as per NLSIU's own act, if you go to section 11 and go to section 13 and look at other provisions where academic council has the power to appoint examiners to fix their remuneration and honorarium, EC's decision was wrong. The argument has now been accepted by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has said that EC cannot, in matters of admission and enrollment in LSIU, act on its own. The attractive argument of Mr. Datar that it is the chief executive body and therefore he can do it was not accepted by the court. Surprisingly, NLSIU, which is an island of excellence, senior most national law university, and is in existence for so many years from 1986, it still does not have regulations for admissions. I think it is a major omission which NSIU authorities must look at. How come they have been admitting people without making regulations? Then can the Vice Chancellor act on behalf of EC? Here again, first of all, the Executive Council must have power. Then Executive Council can delegate this power to Vice Chancellor. Since the Executive Council itself did not have the power, the Vice Chancellor cannot, on the authorization or delegation given by EC, act on EC's behalf. No subcommittee or admission committee can take the place of statutory authority. Academic Council is a statutory authority. If you look at the counters filed by NLSIU, at some places they call it a faculty subcommittee, and at another place they call it admission committee. Basically, it was not an admission committee, it was a faculty subcommittee which cannot take the place or powers of academic council. If you go by 1987 decision, the admission committee must be headed by the vice chancellor. This subcommittee was, and a report is there, it has not been signed by anyone except the registrar. Finally, on NLAT, the Supreme Court has said that though the Vice Chancellor himself as Secretary Treasurer has filed an affidavit in Delhi High Court on 25th August saying that online home proctor tests cannot be fair, cannot be accessible, cannot be transparent, cannot have integrity. The court has accepted consortiums and petitioners' argument and has said that the Vice Chancellor cannot take his stand within a week. It is not a question of somebody wearing two hats, one as Secretary Treasurer and another as Vice Chancellor. The point is you have only one head, which was arguably, which was very well argued by Mr. Nidhesh Gupta on behalf of petitioners. So the court has said we are not going into the malpractices part. There may be some inquiry, there is a criminal complaint, let them find out. But on consortium, I feel the argument which NLSIU has made that there was no direction in Varun Bhagat, there was no direction in Disha Panchal, this is a private club. The argument of consortium has been accepted. It is not a private club. All the member universities are statutory authorities. It is performing a public duty which is in national interest. The court has noted its precedent where admission test was held to be a national interest. So for the consortium, there cannot be a better judgment than this, that there is now judicial recognition in the judgment of consortium. NLSIU now cannot get out of consortium. Some people have been making a case that to become an institution of excellence, one has to get out of consortium and conduct one's own test. I think that possibility has now been closed forever. The court has definitely asked NLSIU to admit students only through CLAT. And this will happen not only this year, but in years to come. All the arguments which were made that the EC does not have the power, governing body has the power, I think this was not a correct argument, because the consortium rules are very clear that GB does not have any role in conduct of CLAT. It is the executive committee, those 7 members who met on 7th August had that power. In any case, this decision of executive committee was endorsed by the governing body on 4th and 5th of September. I think NLSIU is now back within consortium. I need to welcome them within the consortium. I am sure that with his association, the consortium will also benefit. In fact, you will be surprised that I had written a letter on 11 September to Professor Sudhir Krishnaswamy saying that since your mock test has miserably failed, you call it off and come back to consortium. I had written very clearly that it is not your failure, but it is the failure of technology. I had written very clearly that we need to learn a lot from him. And I am sure that now, since the Supreme Court has directed him to be back in consortium, this association of all law universities will do something good for legal education. The court has noted our bylaws in which our responsibility is not confined just to conduct of CLAT, but improving legal education as such. I think it is a duty of national law universities not only to improve standards of legal education within national law universities, but we must upgrade skills of law teachers even in traditional colleges and universities. Now my request to all the candidates who are taking CLAT and their parents is, I apologize for the stress in which they were unnecessarily put for last 17 days or so. It has been a stressful time within the consortium also, and as someone who has been involved in the drafting of consortium bylaws, in giving us shape to the consortium as the then president, I personally apologize to each and everyone for the kind of stress they had for so long. We are already under stress due to COVID-19, due to lockdowns. But let me assure, the Supreme Court has clearly said there will be no postponement of CLAT. CLAT will be conducted on 28th on dot. We will make sure that all safety protocols are in place and admissions in all national law universities are completed by the middle of October. NLSIU itself will come back as Secretary Treasurer. As I told you, I had written to him on 11 September itself. He is part of our family, an integral part of our family. All of us commit mistakes. It was a mistake, more of a not properly looking at the statute rather than anything else. I don't think that there was any evil motive in it, but let us forget and move ahead. And I am sure that we would set good example and conduct a fair, transparent, non-exploitative CLAT 2020.